What is up, YouTubers? AJ Gergich here, founder of Gergich & Company. In today's video, I'm hopefully going to help you to solve your WordPress site speed issues. Now, a lot of you are like me, you're a marketer, you're not a developer. And I keep hearing people like, I know my site's slow, but what am I going to do? You know, I'm not a developer. I got you. So I tested bajillions of plugins and options, all designed supposedly to speed up your site. Many of them did not work. I've come up with 10 steps, mostly all plugins, all free, that you can install. I've tried them, I've tested them, I've set up a demo site for us to play around with so you can see the results live, see all the settings that I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to give you exactly what to do to speed up your site, and it's going to work. Now, that does come with the caveat. I am not a developer, I am a marketer. Back up your stuff. Right? So back your site up before you go and start, even though it's just mostly installing plugins and things like that. Back it up, be safe, and that way there's no issues if something you install causes a bug, you don't have to freak out about it. Or even better, if you can do it on a staging environment, please, test there. I'm here on the throwaway kind of demo site that I set up just for showing how to do these optimizations. I'll delete this for security purposes, but don't worry, you'll get everything you need in this video. This is just a stock install of the latest version of WordPress, and then I installed this responsive theme called Newsmag. It's free, and I just thought it'd be a good one to test. For the purposes of this video, though, we're going to look at just an internal page, a blog post on this demo. Let's go over to PageSpeed Insights. I've already pulled up the scores for this internal page, and you can see it kind of needs some work. It's 68 out of 100 and 77 out of 100. Don't fixate too much on the score, whether good or bad. It's better to just look down here about what you can do to fix these other things. This brings us to our first step, which is to install an image optimizer. I recommend ShortPixel. It is a freemium tool. I've tested a whole bunch, looked at their ability to compress, and this one does a really great job. You get about 100 free credits a month, and if you want to, you can do like one-time purchases for a few thousand images. It's really, really cheap, and then go back to the freemium model. It's all up to you. Here are the settings that I use and I think that most people will do the best with. And I'm over in the general tab of the ShortPixel settings. And I would recommend most people go with lossy compression. If you're super anal, you could go with glossy. But honestly, try lossy out. You probably won't be able to visibly tell that the image has been compressed, but you're going to get a lot of savings. The next thing I would say is go ahead and include the thumbnails. You notice that I don't have it included. And that's because I didn't want to run out of credits for this, but normally you would want all the images optimized. Back them up, CMYK to RGB conversion, and remove the tag data. So checkmark all those, and then move over to advanced and checkmark WebP versions. WebP is a format from Google. It works currently on Chrome and on Android. I'm hoping the others will adopt it. It's a really small image size, and so you want to click that so that if someone comes to your site, say in Chrome, they're going to get an extra speed boost because these images are going to be shown as WebP images. Also, go ahead and generate the markup and optimize for Retina and automatically optimize PDFs, and go ahead and check mark optimize media on upload right here. Obviously, feel free to play around with these, but I think this is like a general starting point that will fit most people's needs. Let's take a look at step 2. Step 2 is to simply install a WordPress cache plugin. There are a ton of options out there, but I recommend WP Fastest Cache. The reason why is it's dead simple to use and it is very effective. Here are the settings, the general settings that I think will work for most of you. Just go over to the settings tab once you've installed it, enable the cache system, enable preload, and go ahead and set it up where it can clear the cache on new posts and updated posts. Skip down to gzip, enable that, and really importantly, enable browser caching. That's going to see a really nice boost in speed. Now, I would just save this and you're good to go. You could, if you want, turn on to minify the HTML, CSS, and combine the CSS and JavaScript. That's a totally recommended thing. However, I'm about to show you a tool that I use for those steps because it gives us a little bit more control. So let's go ahead and move to step 3. Step 3 is to install Auto Optimize. It's all smushed together as one word that shares the O. It's Auto Optimize. It is a fantastic tool and it gives you that control that I mentioned. Once you install it, go ahead and go into the settings and try mimicking this setup. You're going to want to check mark for it to optimize your HTML. If you have a lot of comments in your HTML, you can enable that as well. For JavaScript, you're going to optimize that. And what it's really doing, it's minimizing the impact of your HTML, taking out spaces, things like that in your JavaScript, and it's going to be combining them into, let's say you have like 7 JavaScript files, it might combine them into one. So just check mark optimize JavaScript code and aggregate inline JavaScript as well. Then go down to your CSS, optimize the CSS, doing the same type of things, combining your CSS as well. However, what I would recommend you to try if you have a small site is try actually inlining all of your CSS. It will make your site really, really fast. The problem is if you have a larger site or get a lot of traffic, it could be a little bit too much to do, slow down performance in the end. But for most small sites, it could work really, really well. However, sometimes when you do this, you'll go to Google PageSpeed and it'll tell you, hey, you're having issues with above the fold content and when you have this on. So you're gonna have to try it out. Sometimes it's an amazing little boost to just inline the CSS depending on the site. But for a lot of people, what you're gonna wanna do instead of inlining, like I said, give it a try, but instead of inlining, you wanna inline and defer. And you can see here I have some CSS code. Now I promised that we weren't gonna do any coding. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to know a lick about CSS to do this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna basically inline above the fold critical path CSS. And then you're going to kind of load the rest of the CSS after the page loads. So there is a tool to do that, and we'll get to that in just a second. Okay. I just want to show you these last 2 options. In miscellaneous, I have both of these checked. So let's move to step 4, which is related to this tool here. And this is going to explain how I got this code here for the critical path CSS. There is a generator, and I'll have this linked again, where you can go in and enter your critical path or get your critical path CSS. So you just put in your page. I've put in the blog post, and here you got to enter your full CSS. Now again, if you don't know any code, don't freak out. All you got to do is go to the page, right click, inspect the element. And what you're looking for is a file called .css, and if you're using Auto Optimize, it's going to be Auto Optimize /CSS. You can literally just Command F and hit search, and you'll see it. It's right there, and the path may be a little different on your setup. So just search for it; it'll be there. Then you go to it. So just paste that in. Here I am. I don't have to know what any of this means. Command A, Command C, and then go back to your critical path generator. Paste that in, and that's all the CSS that we have. Just mash this button here and it will generate the critical path CSS you need to load above the fold. And you can see right here, we had all of these characters, a big file that it's reduced drastically down. You just Command A, Command C, copy this out, go back to Auto Optimize, and you can paste this in, and you can see I've already done that. And like I said, what this is doing is just taking that critical stuff in your CSS and inlining that and then delaying the rest. You don't have to understand how it works, just know that it works. And go ahead and hit Save Changes, empty cache. And remember always to, whenever you're making changes, empty both of these caches. Step 5 is going to piggyback off of what we've done with setting up Auto Optimize. What you're going to do is install Async JavaScript plugin. It's another free plugin. It's going to give us a lot more control, and it's going to help us with those kind of nasty render blocking scripts that are left over and clean up a lot of those. So let's go take a look at the settings. I have it installed. There is a wizard, and you can get a GTmetrix code for free, and it'll do some testing and show you, hey, if you defer the script, this will happen. If you set it to async, this is going to happen, or you can exclude it. And I recommend you do that. We're not going to do that here, though. We're going to jump ahead, but you can do that, and it gives you a lot of different data to go on. We're going to jump over, though, to status. And this is pretty much what you're going to want to make sure right here that you follow this. We've already done this if you're kind of following along in the video, but essentially what it's telling you is make sure in auto optimize that these options are checked. If you follow along, you're pretty much good to go. And then you're going to empty your cache and save changes and come back over to settings. So if you go into settings, this is where it's talking about piggybacking on auto optimize, and it's wanting to check mark that. I have set it to defer. Sometimes you're going to have to set that to async as well. Every setup's different. So let's walk you through these steps. You want to enable it, of course, and then to be honest, it's going to depend on your setup. You're going to have to test. So I always try to defer things if possible. So set it to defer, and if that breaks things, set it to async. Same thing with jQuery. A lot of times this is the most difficult one to get rid of, and sometimes you just can't. Start off with exclude and then work your way over, defer or async if you have to. There will usually be some script exclusions in here. You may or may not be able to remove them. I was able to remove them and not exclude anything, and nothing broke, nothing changed. So really with this one, it looks a little complicated at first, but there's just really a couple little settings, and you just need to decide, what's the best mix, deferring or excluding for your site. And then you just want to make sure that if you have auto optimize installed, that you've checked this and set it to defer or sync as well, so it plays nicely with each other. Step 6 is going to be to install A3 Lazy Load. I tried a bunch of different plugins, and this is the one that worked best for me. Again, with a lot of these, there are other options. So if you just type in like Lazy Load WordPress plugin, you're going to find some other options. I tested a bunch, and I really liked this one a lot. So let's go check it out. A3 Lazy Load has a bunch of different settings, but they're all pretty easy. And to be honest, just activate them all. So everything you notice, like I have everything on, but it does give you a lot of control. Like if you're having an issue with Gravatar images and things like that, just a ton of control over, lazy loading. Pretty much just leave everything at default, turn everything on, and you're good to go. If you find any issues, you could turn something off, but I love it that it's simple, and that straight out of the gate, it works really well. I'll try to see if I can, what you're going to look for is a spinner. So it's going to load everything below the fold, will load with spinners as well. So you could see that little spin around there as it was loading. It happened a little too fast to see here. Let's go to the home page though. You see the spinners? Yep, right there. So there's a little lag in the server itself. I'm on just a cheap little host here for this demo. I'm not on my main server, so it's slower. But that literally, lazy loaded those images. So it's kind of almost like if you're on like Pinterest and you're doing the infinite scroll and then it loads, it's mimicking that type of feature. And it really actually will help your page speed a ton. It eliminates a lot of requests that aren't necessarily needed. Step 7 is to install Chaos, Complete Analytics Optimization Suite. Love that name. This is for all of you using Google Analytics, which is everyone. So what you'll find, annoyingly, is that when you run PageSpeed, it complains to you about Google Analytics a lot. It's like, hey, it's render blocking. It's not doing it. It's pretty annoying, but you can do this. And what you're basically doing is hosting it locally. and it works great. It's pretty fantastic. I'm over in the settings for Chaos, and it's quite simple. Just plop in your ID, and I highly recommend you take advantage of the cool feature that allows you to put this in your footer. I haven't tested out the adjusted bounce rate and things like that. It looks really cool. I'll have to play around with it, but for now, as simple as put this in, save changes, and Google PageSpeed will start to give you a lot better score. Step 8 is a little bit optional, and that is going to be to install lazy load for comments. If you're using comments, it can be, actually, I was surprised how effective it was at increasing the page speed. We'd go take a look at it. All you do, you install it. There's no setting. There's nothing to do. You just install it. And down here, you say load comments, and that would load the comments. They flow out. You've probably seen that on like newspaper sites and things like that before. But it definitely did improve more than I thought it would. So give it a try and see how it works for you. Now, step 9 is not nearly as optional in my opinion. What you're going to want to do is set up a CDN. And I would recommend going to WP Fastest Cache, clicking on CDN, and there's a few different options. If you're just an everyday blogger, that kind of thing, and this isn't a huge thing for you, I would recommend just using the free option, CDN by Photon. You will need to install Jetpack. Okay, so install Jetpack, it's free. Then go in and turn everything off. Just turn everything off except for image optimization. There's some options in Jetpack you can play around with. They might be cool for you, like their social sharing or the comments and things like that. You can attempt to turn them on later and see how your scores do. But for now, I'm just focused on the one thing, the image optimization. And what people don't realize is that actually WordPress will host your photos for you, even if you have your custom site and all that kind of stuff. So if you select the CDN by Photon, it's not a typical CDN where all your stuff is hosted in the cloud. It's just your photos, but your photos are one of your heaviest things on the site. And so install it, click the photo optimization, and then come over here to WP Fastest Cache, click on CDN, and just follow through the steps. This is just where they're going to be hosted. It doesn't matter. You could literally select random, pick any of the URLs. You can't go wrong. Hit next. These are the file types. You're probably going to want all of them. And you could specify specific sources. You probably won't need to, and that's it. Done. Now all of your images are, being hosted by WordPress in the cloud, and you will see a really nice boost in speed. However, if you're taking this a little bit step further, I highly recommend Max CDN. There's a coupon on their site, Google for it or whatever. It's around $6 to $10 a month, and it's really, really good. Very, very similar, simple process to set up. And if you wanted to take it a step further and you were like, working at a larger company, I highly recommend Fastly. It's not cheap, but it's really, really, really good. I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Cloudflare has a free plan. Now you think I would probably lead with that, but I personally think it kind of sucks. But I mean, it is free, so who am I to complain? So it's not just images, it's everything. But I've had some mixed results and read some mixed results from it. So you could give it a try, give their free plan a try and see if it works for you. But for most people, I think hosting the photos or doing Max CDN is going to be pretty much perfect for you. That leads us to step 10. Step 10 is going to be our final step, and that is to install WordPress Optimize, WP Optimize. This is basically like a house cleaning tool. Cleans your database, defragments, this and that. It cleans everything up, removes this trash comments and all kinds of things like that. So let's go through this live together actually. You'll see when you install it, you have WP Optimize, and you just click that. And what I would recommend is, either doing another backup. Right now, they recommend it as well. And just select everything, unless you just see something you're like, no, I don't want to remove, pingbacks. Up to you. Select everything you can and run it all. It's very, very fast. In this case, you see it's like 0 spam comments have been removed and things like that. I actually had run it a little bit earlier, but on my main site, there were things like 1,000 post revisions that were being stored, and I didn't know that. And so this just like cleans out all that crap that is in there that you may not be aware of. Second thing is to go over to settings, and I love this. Enable the scheduler. I've set it up to go monthly, depending, you can go weekly if you want to, and you could tell it what to do, and you save the settings and you're done. Now you don't even really have to worry about this because it just does it for you. It's beautiful, and it's going to keep your WordPress house cleaned up. So we've done our 10 steps. Let's go see what the results are looking like over at Google PageSpeed. I just ran PageSpeed Insights, and I'm really happy with what we've been able to accomplish with just a few steps of installing these plugins and optimizing them. If you remember back, we had a score in the 60s on mobile and 70s on desktop. Now we're up to a 91. And notice there's very few things left that Google is telling us to fix for mobile, and that's really what we're optimizing mainly for. And then there's desktop. We get a 95 out of 100. And you can just feel it on the site when you're clicking around, how much snappier it is and faster it is, and Google is picking that up as well. Let's go over to GTmetrix. We've mentioned that a few times. Another great place to test. I just ran a test over there, and it was really, really good. We're down to 1 second to load. Great scores, 98, and from YSlow an 89. I don't care as much about YSlow, but I can tell you right now what it is. They want us to do a full CDN, right? So they're big on that. If we had a full CDN like Max CDN, we probably have just about 100 with YSlow as well. We kind of have that partial CDN with the Jetpack optimization of the photos. Still really, really cool, and you can see how well this is working. Lastly, let's go look at Think with Google. I ran a quick test. Now this says 2 seconds, but this is over 3G, and they're saying this is excellent. You're gonna have a low visitor loss due to this, and you can get a free report. We covered that in our last video, but check this out too. It compares us to the business and industrial industry. That's what it thinks the site's about, compared to the rest of the industry, and it looks pretty darn good. Down in the comments, let me know what your starting scores are and try some of these things out. Remember to back up first. Try some of these things out. Not every single one of them will work for your exact setup, but a lot of them will. And then let me know what the improvement is, or if you have any questions. But I'd love to see somebody saying, look, I started out with a 50 or a 60, and now I have a 95. That would be fantastic and make my day.